ladies and gentlemen, we're back with our next episode of The Gist, and although this doesn't exactly look like the Australian office, be assured that you are indeed watching the right episode, and today we're going to be talking about Xbox One games worth buying an Xbox One to play. Now, from our last episode of 2 weeks ago, you guys let me know you weren't that keen on seeing multi-platform titles included, so today we're going to be focusing mostly on Xbox exclusives. We would be totally remiss not to start today off by mentioning our May game of the month, Capybara's Super Time Force. Super Time Force is rad, but since this show sort of requires that I tell you why, here's my short to the Game of the Month video's long of it. The game falls into the fairly limited selection of titles that have a truly unique gameplay mechanic. It's not that the time-controlling mechanic hasn't been done before, but unlike games like Prince of Persia and Braid, Super Time Force does it with crazy complexity and style. Needing to constantly rewind time and employ characters with different abilities, or just multiple clones of yourself, demands a more tactical approach to what initially appears to be a mad dash action game. And I really do mean a mad dash because you're fighting against time on every level. Now, I feel a little personally ripped off by this one because as of 2 weeks ago, Dead Rising 3 was an Xbox exclusive and then they announced that it was coming to PC. Nonetheless, this is a damn good Xbox One game. Dead Rising 3 brings back something that many modern games have lost, and that's being content with just being sort of silly and having fun with it. That's not to say the game doesn't still look cool, play well, or lack any of the polish of a blockbuster game. But Dead Rising's weapon and vehicle crafting is as senseless and hilariously irrational as it is useful and well executed. More moody and serious narrative-driven games like Quantum Break and Halo are great and all, but sometimes you just need to don a onesie and level a sea of zombies with a Blambo, which is a crossbow mixed with fireworks, obviously. On top of that, the co-op mode is a great time and a refreshing addition since engaging two-player co-op is hard to find in more recent games. And now for a game that needs no introduction or explanation, Titanfall! Although technically that was an introduction and now I'm gonna give you an explanation. Unless you've been dwelling under a pretty large rock for the last several months, chances are you know about Titanfall. Being able to fight and quickly traverse areas as an agile pilot and fight alongside or take command of enormous mechs makes for a more interesting variation of the multiplayer FPS, but you probably know that. Some new stuff worth knowing is that the Expedition DLC pack is out, which introduces 3 new maps like the vertically focused swamp. The new patch makes custom weapon loadouts easier to manage and lets you make private matches with your own settings. Yeah, okay, it's on PC and Xbox 360 too, but the bottom line is that Titanfall is great and was a significant system seller for the Xbox One, so you do well to check it out if you haven't already. And my last suggestion is Forza 5, which admittedly is pretty dependent on whether or not you're keen on driving games. I know there's a mess of driving games to choose from, but if you happen to have yourself an Xbox One or you're considering grabbing one, this is a good one to go for. There are multiple small careers that you can choose from, so you aren't limited to a single career path. You still have to complete sections to progress, but it's more choice than other racing titles. The drive-a-tar system may have a pretty damn stupid name, but it's actually a pretty clever feature that Turn 10 Studios have added. It models the driving habits of other players and recreates them using some fairly refined AI. So it's a little different to the Ghost system in other racing games, and it means you can play against people who aren't even there. And conversely, they can attempt to outrace your avatar while you're away from your console. Also, Jeremy Clarkson is in it, so if you want to hear that Top Gear guy talk about some Forza cars, well, there's that. Let me know in that commenting box if you grabbed any of these Xbox One titles and whether you think the PS4 selection beats out the Xbox Ones or vice versa. As for the PS4 selection, here's what you guys thought about the games I suggested from last episode. A lot of you guys echoed the sentiment of Unknown Revolver, who was a bit disappointed in the lack of AAA representation in the last episode, saying buys a new generation console to play only indie games. And plenty of you were just downright unimpressed with the PS4 selection, like Project Dark, who said, damn, PS4 has no games, for real. Arco Nils too had an interesting comment on multiplats, explaining, agree on Resogun and Infamous, disagree on multiplats though. Nobody should buy a system for multiplats especially especially if they run on any average PC. So far, there wasn't much reason for me to own the PS4 besides having some games look better than on PS3 but worse than on PC. Right now, owning a new console is for its potential. I think potential is definitely the key there, but let me know what you guys think. Those are all the games that I wanted to tell you about from the Xbox One and the PS4, but be sure to let me know whether you think the new generation consoles are worth buying now, or if you think gamers should wait it out a little while longer. I'll be back next week, so be sure to join me then.